What's up everybody? So today we're gonna talk about Airbnb, and this is a massive weekend coming in front of us. So on the 10th of December they're gonna IPO, which is insane. So here's the deal. I'm gonna put up my strategy and what I'm gonna do. So have your strategy in there. If you're gonna go into this company, be ready. If you're not gonna go into it, okay, you looked into it and it didn't fit your criteria. But don't miss out on this company. Don't do it. Like, have your strategy set and have your game plan set so you know what to look for. You know, like, if I'm buying this much at this price, and this is when I'm selling. I'm selling if it drops below this price, or I'm buying more if it drops below this price. But don't miss out on this opportunity. I'm gonna give you guys some finance now that I've been looking at, and then I'm gonna tell you guys my thoughts. So let's just get into it.
Alright guys, so his name is Brian Sketsky and he's the CEO of the company. And you want to have a CEO that has a really hard name to pronounce. No, but he's this cool guy. He invented and he changed the whole travel industry. And I mean, this is really cool. Like, and they've been having a lot of years of easy year. They've been growing and growing and growing. And this like 2020 is when the shit hit the fan and things have been going hard for them. So I think this year has like grow his personnel and grow his character, because when you're having a hard practice, like if you go to hard practice and you like complete it, you'll be stronger afterwards. And if you're having a hard year and you complete it, you'll be better after it. So I think for them, like, this has been a really hard year for them and they learned so much. I think they will just evaluate this and just take it to the next level in the coming years. So the reason why they go in public this year is because a lot of like their employees are having stock options in the company, and they were thinking about going like public earlier this year. And you know, some people are like, why don't you go in public next year? Because if they were going public next year, like when the crisis is gone away, like all these employees would have lost their options, which would have caused a lot of distrust. But now, since he's like, you know, doing this year, this create a lot of trust. And I mean, their employees are like thinking, oh, he cares about us, he knows what he's doing, he knows what the future is going. So when you're doing like this, you want to have a guy like this on your team when you're like setting up your portfolio, when you're setting up your strategy, when you're setting up your plays. And I think he's a smart ass guy. So this is a guy you want to have. Brian Sketsky, you want to have him on the team. So let's look on some finance stuff. So over here you can see, like, here's their bookings. They've been going from 25 all the way up to almost 190 bookings, like boom. If we're gonna estimate it, I've done some estimation here, I think they will reach around like 400 million bookings in like a few years. So for like to evaluate the company, we need to look on the revenue. So the revenue has been like 900 million right now in like 2015, and now it's almost 5 billion. So what do I think it will be in 2025? I think around 8 billion, which is insane. So they've been going a lot. So I think they will be going all the way up here, because I mean, if we look under like growth here, if we estimate that, okay, they're gonna grow with a 15% growth rate, and then we just take from this one and we just skip a little bit right here, this is where we end up. And I mean, I think that's like fair valuation of them. If we look in here, been doubling almost, and I mean, it's like, I think like for them to go here is like less than a double. So I think that's definitely possible. And I like to be a little bit more defensive when I'm analyzing like companies like this, because it's better. So they've been having a lot of negative earnings. So let's just use a different measurement, like price to free cash flow. So their price to free cash flow is a good margin to look on, like a good, like, you know, a good financial like analysis tool that you can use to like check like how much like a company should be valued at. So the average price to free cash flow in the SP 500 is 14. So if we use a margin of cash flow for like 10% of this company, and you can see like here's all their margin for the different quarters, then we will get like this ratio right here. So if we have like, you know, the cash, and we take like, oh, okay, they made like this much money here, like they made like, okay, let's just say like they made almost 5 billion, and then we take this number here, they will get a price to free cash flow ratio of 71. And then we do the same thing here, but with a higher one, and we get 36, and then the same thing here with 24 then. So if we look on this thing, we can say like, okay, so this is like more what Hugo's thinking. Maybe this is like a little bit more what the analysts are thinking, like around 36, and this is like probably what the optimists are thinking. Like if you hear someone say like around 24 here, they're probably like more bullish on this. So how much should this be valued then? So in 2024 it was valued at, you know, 10 billion, sorry. In 2019 it had almost like 4 exits, and it was almost worth like 40. And then the crisis came, and now it's like, you know, it's like a 3x, almost like a 3.5x from here. So I think if we're assuming that we can keep like this ratio right here, let's just say like, okay, we're a little bit more bullish here, we can keep this ratio here, this margin, because he learned a lot and they're gonna adopt things from it. So let's just say like, okay, they have a free cash flow margin of like 24%. We use that with the revenue for like 2025, and then we estimate like, okay, if they should have like a price of free cash flow 36.5, then they'll be valued at around like, you know, 70 billion. So that would generate also like a 2x return from today. So I think that's a good to look at. Like this like might be like really hard to estimate for a growth stock, because this could change a lot. Like if we change like let's say like the revenue here was like, instead of like increased by 45%, I can just say like this instead, like boom, it increased by 45%, and then the whole thing will be changed here, down here, like everything will be changed because they will be higher valued, and then this will be like 90 now instead. But if we're gonna be defensive, I think a 2x return in 5 years is definitely reasonable. So let's just talk some more stuff about this, like competitive advantage, red flags, and what I'm doing. So let's just get into it.
Alright guys, so now we're gonna go into the last detail of this video, this whole depth Airbnb video. So this is gonna be it. So here's the deal. Airbnb has a lot of competitive advantage, because the reason why they have it, because they have so many users in their app, they're using it. And I mean, it's the chicken and the egg analysis. When you're having like, who came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's the same with the users. Who came first, the users or the content? And you can see that on Facebook, that it's really hard to create a similar page as Facebook, and that's why they've been around for so long. So if you think this is like an industry that will keep growing, if you think people will travel more, I think this could be like a good company for you, because a lot of in my generation is using Airbnb, and the older generation is not using as much. So when we are getting older and when we are traveling more, we might keep using Airbnb and go to these places, and more younger people will keep using Airbnb. And that's why I think they have a big competitive advantage. They might not have the biggest market share right now, but I think they will grow their market share. And if you think so, it might be a play for you. So who is their bigger competitors? So I think their biggest competitors is restriction and like people not traveling. So the biggest competitor could be like Home Depot, or freaking, I don't know, some place when you renovate your house or renovate your kitchen, like things that makes people not travel. Like people might say like, oh, I'm not going to travel this year because instead we're going to renovate the kitchen, or instead we're going to buy a new TV, or we're buying a new couch. So this is the things that make people not want to travel, and this is like competitive to Airbnb. Because in like the sector of the traveling business, I think their margins and their like, you know, market share will just keep growing. I think they will take away market share from the hotels, and I think more people will travel because we're getting more people in the world, and will just be more and more and more people is gonna travel. And I think their business idea are genius. So I think that's their biggest competitor. If you think I'm wrong, please comment below. And here's the red flags, and then I'm gonna tell you guys my strategy. The red flags for me was just two things. First thing is this: they bought this new ass looking super nice thing, this headquarters in Silicon Valley. I think it was in Silicon. Either way, it was like a super nice headquarters. They spent a lot of money on it, and then now when the crisis came, they had to lay off so many people and have so much to pay. So then the second one came in, they have to take this like bad loan, so they have to like raise capitals, you know, so they could survive. And I mean, you don't want to have that. You want to have a company that maybe doesn't like, you know, get this super nice headquarters like Apple. They got this super nice headquarters now when they're valued at over $1 trillion. Now I think it's a little bit too early for Airbnb to be like shining, looking, getting the good headquarters. So what am I gonna do, and what am I thinking about this company? So I'm thinking like this: when you're looking into financial ratios, it's pretty hard to just estimating, because estimating revenues and earnings are the hardest things and the thing you can do most wrongs. So I think that if we're just looking on the things in the world, I think that people will travel more after restrictions. I think that Airbnb's market share will keep going upwards. I think more people will get into there, and especially when we are getting older, more people are getting in there. I think that people in general will like be like, oh, okay, have you heard about this Airbnb? And it would just be like a mouth-to-mouth business. Like it will just keep growing out of like growing. And I also think like this. This is my last take. I think like it's a good price to get into. I think that if you in the long run, you can get into this price, because if it goes down a little bit, you can buy more shares and then you can hold it for the long run. Because I don't think this company will go away. If you think this company will go away, okay, but I don't think so. So here's the deal. you should be afraid that there's been too many IPOs this year. It's been over 400, which is more than like the IT bubble back in 2000. So that's a little bit concern that you have in mind. So be careful that a lot of people are looking into this like IPO right now, this week. So it might like go ballistic this week, straight up. So be ready for that and be ready to have your strategy set. My strategy is gonna be like this. I'm gonna have $5,000, which I'm gonna buy on the IPO date. Then if it keeps dropping down, I'm gonna invest dollar average, go in with more money into the company. If it keeps going upwards, and if it go too much upward, I might sell off and take my profit. If it like go up to 70 like this, because I don't think like, or if it go up to like 100. But I think that we can easily in like 5-year period see a 3x of this. I think this could like, even if we looked on the financials I showed you guys, I think this could be worth over 100 billion in like 5 years. So if you want to go for the long run, I think this is a company for you. Remember, this is just my analysis. If you like it, please press the like button and take care, everybody. Bye bye.